Check. Check 1, 2. Mic kai. Oh, namnai ka halame kalewa. Hey, lele huano yanakane. Oh, kauna ya eano ine. Hey, ene ho iyo kaikimai. Aikimai no oko. Aikipuno me kaua. Ahoy. 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 Aloha. O ka moho ali I ke kane, o ka makaliko le hua ka wahine, o noho pūlaua a hanau ia o Charles Kaili. O Charles Kaili ke kane, o Elizabeth Pijo ka wahine, a noho pūlaua a hanau ia o Agnes Kawahi Kaili. O ka hiwa lani luhi ke kane, o wahine o Pio ka wahine, o noho pūlaua o Sarah Kahiva Lani, o Sam Alapai ke kane, o Sarah ke ahi Kahiva Lani kawahine, o Nuhupu Laua a hanau ia o James Alapai, o James Alapai ke kane, o Agnes Kawahi Kaili kawahine, o Nuhupu Laua a hanau ia o Allen Brian Elia Alapai. O Allen Brian Elia Alapai kona inoa. Eia no kona mo'oku au hau. Ua hala oia. A mama ua noa. Ua lele vale aku no ue. To the family and friends, I greet you. I am the nephew of our late Uncle Allen. And I have greeted each and every one of you with the traditional chant of aloha. And I spoke of 3 generations of family traditions and mo'oku auhau of the late Allen Brian Elia Alapai. Mahalo for attending this ho'olewa. In ancient Hawaii, the concept of a funeral was not a common practice into the arrival of the missionaries in 1820. And so I would like to introduce you the concept of what we know as ho'olewa. Can everyone say ho'olewa? Ho'olewa is a command. It's a word that prompts all the listeners, all the family and friends that are here today. It prompts an individual to lift oneself up. In this day and age, when we lose a family member, we tend to mourn and we tend to grieve. So each and every one of you in the audience under the tent has a responsibility. And that responsibility is to approach the family and help lift them up. It is a beautiful concept in ancient Hawaii to lift up their soul, lift up their feelings, cheer them up. That is your responsibility here, is to ho'olewa the family. There is a metaphor behind that word. It is a traditional practice when family members pass on. Ho'olewa also means to lift up the family individual higher to the heavens. And that is the concept and the practice that many of us forget, but I'm happy to share this practice with each and every one of you. So your first Hawaiian language word of the day is ho'olewa. Can you say that? Ho'opili mai. Ho'olewa. So we will no longer use the word funeral. We will now use the word ho'olewa, because we come here to lift each other up. We come here to lift the family up. Yes. And we come here to lift Uncle up higher to the heavens. And Uncle was a big man, so we all got to help lift him up, because he was a big blala. So we all have to contribute, okay? The more people help lift each other up, the lighter Uncle is. So that is a concept that I share with each and every one of you. That is a concept of ho'oleva. What is the word again? Ho'oleva. And that is a beautiful Hawaiian word that we need to use to this day. For those of you that are unfamiliar, I am the nephew from Honolulu. And my mother was the late Agnes Nikki Moniz. And I'm very honored that my cousins and my auntie asked me to perform this ho'oleva on behalf of the family and my uncle. A Hawaiian cultural practice is a very time-honored tradition. And of the many family members that we have here that are paying their ho'oleva, it is Anakala who had that ceremonial cultural practice of lomi lomi. There's many ceremonial practices associated with lomi lomi, and my Anakala was the carrier and the practitioner of that tradition. And I'm very happy to share in that cultural practice with him. Allow me to begin by starting our program with what the Westerners call eulogy. So here's your second Hawaiian word for the day. Your second Hawaiian word for the day is ho'olauna. Can you say that?
Ho'olauna.
Ho'olauna. Ho'olauna means to introduce. Ho'olauna means to introduce and also inform. So I want to inform each and every one of you about my uncle. And for those of you friends, for those of you that are haumana, for those of you that were colleagues, for those of you that are family members, I introduce the ho'olauna of Uncle Allen. Allow me to begin this ho'oleva. I remember meeting my uncle when I was the age of 4 years old. For my aunties and uncles, this was at our Liliha house. We had a very big living room, and I have very fond memories of my uncle imitating TV characters. If you know my uncle, he was very much a comical, humorous, funny individual. And for a 4-year-old child, that was like, wow, my uncle can imitate all of these TV characters. So he quickly became the very favorite uncle who would visit. I looked up to him because he could imitate Big Bird, he could imitate Oscar the Grouch, and he could also imitate Snuffleupagus. Now, I might be dating myself because those are a lot of TV shows that the grandchildren probably never seen before or watched, but those were the characters that my uncle could portray and imitate. My favorite character that he could imitate was Bert and Ernie. And he would always speak and laugh, just like Ernie. So let's get back to my Uncle Allen. You know, I have wrote many research papers. I even had to prepare the eulogy for my mother. And writing a eulogy, writing a ho'olauna is not an easy thing to do. It was one of the hardest things to write. And so when the family asked me to perform this ho'oleva, I thought to myself, I'm looking to 2 tents. And the question I have for you is, if Keakua Manaloa was to take the person sitting right next to you right now, can you honestly say that you know that person? You have known that person and able to see that person through his or her life? Are you able to answer that question? For some of us, the answer is a'ole. So allow me to share this with you about my uncle, Ho'olauna. Yeah. As you know, Allen Brian Elia Alapai, he was born 21,870 days ago. Did you know that? 21,000 days ago he was born. That would make him 59 years, 10 months, 16 days, 7 hours, and 46 minutes old. I did all the math for that. I did all the math for that. To be specific, July 17th, 1958 is the day that he was born. And that would also make Uncle Allen part of the baby boomer generation. Uncle Allen shares July 7th as a historical day and anniversary in which the first cornerstone of Queens Hospital was placed. I'm a Hawaiian historian, so I like to make connections with things like that. And the day that Uncle was born was the 98th anniversary of Queen's Hospital, opening up and caring for Hawaiian people. I share that with you because that's what my uncle was doing, caring for his people. So that was a connection that he had with Queen's Hospital. As they treat and help Hawaiians, so was my uncle. And so that's the date that we'll always remember in my head. His favorite holiday was Thanksgiving because he loved to cook. One of his signature dishes was patele rice. Everyone has his or her signature dish, and that was my uncle's signature dish. He mainly loved Thanksgiving because it was the joining of family. He had big, wide Hawaiian luau feet. It was a size 12. When he went swimming, one kick could paddle him all the way to Nihoa. That's how big his feet was. His size shirt was a double X, just like me. So he was a big man. His size pants, 42. And that's my size. So can I borrow some clothes? Because I only came with the clothes I have on my back. For my cousins from Nanakuli, your uncle is also an alumni and a Golden Hawk. He was a proud graduate of Nanakuli High and Intermediate School. His favorite beverage was Arizona plum tea. I like it with vodka. His favorite color was dark blue. His favorite food was oxtail soup, specifically from Tip Top Cafe. And he also liked koloa kala. Now, I asked my cousins, tell me some of Dad's favorite food. So here's a lesson for you all. They typed out polehu kala. Now, being the Hawaiian professor I am, polehu is a term that's used to roast only vegetables. But koloa is the term to roast meat. So my uncle liked koloa kala. Everyone say kala. Kala. And that refers to as a fish. Yeah. That refers to a fish. This one, my uncle's favorite ice cream was macadamia nuts. How many of you like macadamia nut ice cream? Make some noise. But I bet you didn't know this about my uncle. Some of us put chocolate syrup. Some of us put whipped cream. My uncle put popcorn. Popcorn and ice cream. That's why he was double X and 42 waist. His favorite snack was trail nuts. His favorite animal was the honu and the koala. His favorite movie was Forrest Gump. Keep running, Forrest. His favorite movie was Babe, Johnny Tango, and Whale Rider. Yes. Did you know that my uncle was an aspiring wrestler? Like WWE. Did you know that? How do I know? Because his finishing move was the steamroller. I was 4 years old and he trampled over me as a steamroller. Now, when Uncle Allen went to prom in Nanakuli, he came over to our house to shower and to get dressed because we live closest to Waikiki in Liliha. So my uncle spent the weekend at our house because it was close. And when you have relatives sleep over, you don't like sleep in your bedroom. You like sleep in the living room with all the family. And so me, being the little porky kid I was, when I sleep next to my uncle, I end up pushing him off the futon. So my uncle wakes up and he yells, "Steamroller!" And he just rolls his big, large Polynesian frame over a small, little 4-year-old child. I'm just happy that I could live to tell the story. Every wrestler has their finishing move. Hulk Hogan has the leg drop. King Kong Bundy has the splash. Undertaker has a tombstone. Well, my Uncle Allen had the steamroller. That was his finishing move. His favorite movie actor was Tom Hanks and Sylvester Stallone. On the serious side, he worked at Hawaiian Dredging for over 15 years. the Princeville Golf Course as a landscaper. Our family are landscapers because his older sister Laverne is a landscaper. My mom was a landscaper. Uncle James was a landscaper for a little while. Auntie Hope was a landscaper. But none of them have their own yard. I'm just playing, they do. Yeah, they're all landscapers. And Auntie Laverne is still a landscaper. Yeah, good tradition. He was also a security guard, but his passion was lomi lomi. Everyone say lomi lomi.
Lomi, lomi.
To massage and to caress. His personal acknowledgments, he was able to travel to 5 of the 7 continents. He was able to work, study, and pass on traditional and cultural practices to the elders around the world. His dream was to start a school of Hawaiian lomi lomi practices so he could incorporate the Lavena Hawaii, Mo'omeheu Hawaii, Loina Hawaii, and the Mele of Hawaii. It will be practiced, honored, and perpetuated. For those of you that are the students of my Uncle Allen, you have a responsibility, and that is to carry on his tradition that he taught you. The last portion of my ho'olauna, or my introduction of my uncle, I'm calling this ai ole. Can you say ai ole?
Ai ole.
Ai ole means to choose. So I want you to choose one of the following answers, and I want you to choose what my uncle would pick. Okay? And you will identify what you think my uncle would pick by the raising of your hand. Kaukaliba iluna. So let's get us started. If we were to ask my uncle, Uncle, what do you prefer? Fresh poi or sour or
Fresh poi or sour poi? How many of you say fresh poi? How many of you say sour poi? You all knew my uncle very well. If my uncle was here and he said kulolo or haupia, how many of you say well, kulolo? Raise your hand. Kokoli meiluna. How many of you said haupia? Raise your hand. He would have preferred kulolo. The next. If my uncle had to choose between Kalua pig and lau lau, how many of you say Kalua pig? Raise your hand. I ole lau lau, raise your hand. You all knew him very well. It gets harder. If my uncle had to choose between raw crab, opihi, or he'e, kaukalima iluna, how many of you say raw crab? Raise your hand. How many of you say opihi? Raise your hand. How many of you say he'e? Raise your hand. You all know my uncle very well. As you know, everything is about food, yeah? Food is a very social thing for us. Lomi salmon, I ole chicken long rice. If you think my uncle would prefer lomi salmon, raise your hand. If you say chicken long rice, raise your hand. That was his answer. Here's another one. If my uncle had to choose between gravy all over the food, gravy only on the rice, or no, I'd rather have soyu. Pick one of the three. How many of you say gravy all over? How many of you say gravy just on the rice? How many of you say soyu? Only soyu. My uncle wanted extra gravy on the rice. As you know, my uncle was a musician. Some of his ukulele are right here. Would he have preferred 4-string, 6-string, or 8-string? How many of you say 4-string? How many of you say 6-string? And how many of you say 8-string? My uncle loves 6-string.
Yes.
Here's another one. Soda, juice, water. How many of you think my uncle would choose soda? Raise your hand. His grandkids said that. How many of you say no? My uncle wants juice. Raise your hand. If you followed the eulogy, I said Arizona plum tea was his favorite, right? How many of you say water? Raise your hand. he still preferred water. Here's another favorite. Ice cream, cake, or pie? How many of you say ice cream? Raise your hand. How many of you say cake? Raise your hand. My uncle wanted pie. 2 slices of pie. Stew luau, chicken luau, or squid luau? What's your choices? How many of you say stew luau, kakalimi luna? How many of you say squid luau? Raise your hand. And how many of you say chicken luau? Raise your hand. He wanted stew luau. But we don't have that on the menu today. Sorry. Spoon, fork, or chopstick? Take your pick. How many of you say spoon? Raise your hand. How many of you say fork? Raise your hand. How many of you say chopstick? Raise your hand. My uncle used spoon all the time. Off the topic of food, here's another one. Bubbles, water balloons, or kite? How many of you say bubbles? Kakalimi luna. The bubbles is on the table. That was the giveaway. Last one. Here's the last one about my uncle. Cold shower, hot shower, or sit in a tub? How many of you say cold shower? Raise your hand. How many of you say hot shower? Raise your hand. How many of you say sit in a tub? Raise your hand. All you guys are wrong. Because my uncle did the chunky dunk. Because when you fat, all the water go out. So it's a dunk. Anyway, now you guys get it. Now they get it. Anyway, that was my uncle. So that's the one we will be missing. That's the one we will be remembering. So we use the word ho'olauna and not eulogy. Remember, this was to introduce you to my uncle. This was to tell you something that you never knew about him, and now you do. So when we interchange stories and memories with one another, continue the contribution of ho'olauna to introduce. Heavenly Father, bless my uncle's family as well as my uncle as well. So mahalo nui loa. Ama.
Mahalo.
At this time, to share a little bit of ho'omana'o, some extended thoughts, I'd like to call upon my cousin, Amber Kahialani Alapai.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Mahalo. Get in the battery. Leo Nui.
Aloha kako.
Aloha.
Oh, Amber Kahelani Alapai Ho. Mahalo nui for coming today. Kalamai, I kind of lost my voice last night. Hanging out with the aunties and uncles. Thank you, honey. Can you hear me? Psych. Is it working?
Go ahead. The other one probably will.
I wanted to tell. Oh. Is it working?
Come close, Sam. You gotta come close.
Come close. Aloha. Aloha. Thank you. I lost my voice last night. Technical difficulties. Okay.
Turn the thing.
Can we turn her so I don't have to yell? Kalamai, I lost my voice.
Go for it.
Anywhere. Okay. Hello. Okay, I'm not gonna move. Mahalo for your patience, Ohana. Again, my name is Amber Kahelani Alapai. I am the hiapo, or the Kaika Mahine hiapo. The girl hiapo for my mother and my father. I wanted to just mahalo everybody for all the love and support that they were giving to us. And if you knew my father, you would know that he is a storyteller. He loved to tell stories. So in honor of him and in his kind fashion, I'm going to tell you a short story. So today I was stressing. I love my father dearly, and I was trying to do the best I could, make the best olewa I could possibly do, give it my all, and to the point that I was stressing. My hair was standing up. I'm sure everybody never come around me earlier. Kalamai. But at 12:30, I was driving up Wanini Hill to Princeville to get ready for this. And this Ike came to me. And I know it was my father. And he told me, he was laughing at me. I could feel him laughing at me because I was stressing out. And he told me, why are you rushing? Why are you forcing? Why are you pushing? Because that is not his style. That is not Dad's style. He is the king of slow. He is the king of slow. He is the king of the flow. When it's his time, it's his time. Do not push and rush. So I heard him coming to me. You make all these flowers arrangements. You ho'o nani nani. You work hard. Did you even think of smelling these flowers that you were touching? Did you take the moment and appreciate its beauty? And my answer was no, Dad, I never. I was stressing. I was trying to make it good. And it came to me to honor him. I need to honor the lessons he taught me, that he left for me and for my kids. Kalamai, I don't. This is tears of joy because he's still with me. I feel his Ike with me still. He's still showing me the lessons. So at 12:30 today, after stressing all week, because I love my father, I love him deep. He was a good daddy to me. But he told me, slow down, babe. No rush. This is all in good time. You learned. That's how you honor me. That's the greatest honor you can give me. It's to do the lessons that I have taught you, to take the time, to tell your kids. I was rushing around, you guys. Tell the kids you love them. Make their hair. Show them the love. Smell the flowers that you're making. My father, I heard him today at 12:30 going up the Allen Hill. So he's very much with us. And I just wanted to say that kalamai to my ohana who is dealing with me for all week. Kalamai. Also, I want to say that we are a Lomi Lomi family. And I wanted to honor my father because he passed us knowledge, deep knowledge to help heal the masses, to help unite. So I was telling him, Dad, how am I going to do this? I sat down many times this week to write something. Many times I sat down with paper and pen for write something, what I was going to say. What I'm going to say, how can I honor him? How can I honor him? And you know what he told me? He told me, talk to everybody like you guys on my table. Like you guys are on my massage table, and tell our rap. Do our rap. So everybody that come on my massage table, this is what I say to them. I tell them, aloha, my name is Amber Kayalani Alapai. And I do ho'oponopono lomi lomi. And if we break down those words, ho'oponopono is a process to make right and balance. And lomi lomi, I was taught, is to soften. That is my intention for you here today, to make you balance and softer. Not only balance physically with the lomi, but mentally and spiritually. Those knots and tensions that are in your body is created from the mind too. You work hard, yes, but sometimes it's mental, and we carry a lot on us. So today, on my table, it's time to lele. You release. Once we fix the mind, we clear out the voices. My father believed that there was 4 negative energies that the body hold: anger, sadness, jealousy, and fear. These 4 negative energies create tension and knots in our body, muscle memory. And my job today is to lomi her out, to lele, to release. Let her release. My father taught us well. He could look at you and say, your neck is off. Your structure is off. In front of all of you, I promise that I will keep this tradition alive. I will pass it on to my children, my grandchildren, and that way my father will still be with us. His legacy will live on. Kalamai, I didn't have anything that I wrote. Kalamai, that I'm just winging it, but I mahalo everybody here. Also, I want to thank my ohana, my Alapai ohana, the backbone of our ohana. My father, when uahala, the force came from Oahu, from every which way. The force came. I felt her. Kauai felt her. I want to mahalo everybody, my kitchen crew, everybody. I love all of you. The best came and decorated. The best, the Chandler ohana. Want to shout out to them. Mahalo for ho'o nani this ho'oleva. Also mahalo to everybody here. At this time, I would like to call up my Uncle Kapono. My Uncle Kapono is from Washington. When Dad and Mom would go and teach their classes, they would go and stop at this man's house in Washington to recuperate. So at this time, I would like to call up his best friend. This is Kapono. Mahalo, Uncle. You gotta stand right here, Kalamai. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Aloha.
Hello, Uncle.
It's personally been our pleasure to have known all of the Alapais, particularly Allen and we call her Kahili. But I just want to welcome everybody this afternoon, their ohana and all your friends. It's certainly a beautiful time to celebrate the life of such a special person. Kahili, Amber, Ashley, Aikani is not with us, but Alihi, mahalo from my deepest breath I could get. Thank you for sharing your husband, your father, with Hokalani and myself. He blessed all, truly blessed everyone that he came in contact with. Mahalo for inviting Hokalani and myself into your ohana across the water. We first met the Alapais in 1995, and we've been together once or twice every year since that time. Ala lived aloha and made it contagious. I knew Ala in many ways. First, as a friend. We have many, many acquaintances. We have few friends. They say 5 friends. Ala was my friend. As a brother, I got a little bit of slang in there a little bit, but we refer to each other as brother and sister. It was Ala that gave me my name, Kapono, and also named my wife, Hokalani. Also, I remember him as a baby boy. How many knew Allen was a baby boy? Baby boy and baby girl. I have to reflect on some experiences we had, which truly was a little boy. When they first came to Seattle in 1996, we took them snowmobiling. And they're like little kids, their tongues out, catching the flakes. We also had the privilege in the summertime of them being there and doing the wave runners with us. It's a quick little story about Kahili. Yes, you.
Tell him everything.
I want to tell him everything. She said, tell him everything.
No tell
Kahili loved riding on the back of the snowmobile with Allah, as well as she did on the back of a wave runner. And this little girl was hanging on so tightly to Allah so she wouldn't fall off. But the biggest thing about that was her laughter. You could hear her laughing above the roar of the engines of those two toys.
I like laugh right now.
Yes. One thing we really enjoyed being here the last few days is hearing Kahili laugh and knowing that she will continue with that spirit that she has. Allah truly took his grandmother's advice to always be baby boy and play in the park, whether it be in Honolulu, Washington State, or around the world. As Grandma said, his work would take him. Mahalo, Grandma, for passing on the torch to Allah, and for Allah for passing on the torch to your children. Next, I knew him as a kumu, or as a teacher. He traveled all around the world, from small Honolulu to spread his love and his aloha and his teaching. I knew him as a healer. The last time they were in Seattle, I was having a lot of problems with my staff of 24 people. All it came to me, I'd been sharing some things with him, but he came to me, he says, Kapono, would it be okay if I did Ho'oponopono with your staff? I didn't know quite what to think about that or how it would go over, but I said sure, because we need the help. We set a date for that. It went very, very well. My office staff was different the very next morning. Patients were asking, what is the difference? Well, it was aloha and a ho'oponopono. I also knew him by someone else. And I almost forgot this, but I didn't. I referred to him as Mr. Bubbles. And I did bring some bubbles with me today. But when I got here, I found out there was a lot on the tables already. So he was a little boy in all of his spirit.
Come close to the mic.
Have the speaker.
I didn't realize I had wandered away. One thing I remember the first time that Allah and Kahili were at our house, I heard some noise from down the basement in our master bedroom. We were sleeping upstairs. And I had to tell them the next morning, I sneaked over to the stairway, laid on my stomach, with my ear down the stairwell, listening to Allah serenade Kahili to sleep. Remember?
Yeah.
Hokalani and I will always remember his love, his hugs, his kisses, his playfulness, his cooking, which we talked about. Last time he was in Seattle, he made us ginger chicken papaya soup, and we tried to duplicate it since then. I remember him singing many, many times with us and playing, learning to play the flute, his nose flute from Ulalina in Maui, and always will remember his prayers and thoughtfulness at meal times. Kahili, we love you so very much. You, as well as Allah, are always in our hearts. You are always our sister. Continue laughing and loving as you continue on this life's journey. May Akua always be with you and bless you all of your life. Aloha, mahalo.
Our cousin brings up one really big important thing. When she said when the Oahu people came full force, Kalamai, Oahu people couldn't come full force because if we 1 minute late, we're going to be in traffic. And Oahu people know that, so we gotta, come on. So Kalamai, uncle, we're going to be in traffic, that's why. So Honolulu Oahu people, we tend to be a rush. But that's just because of our island. Yeah. But the Oahu people did come full force.
Yes, they did.
Because that's how we are.
Yes.
And then that's a beautiful, beautiful, touching memoirs from a friend of my uncle who many of us didn't know about. So mahalo for allowing him to spend some time. As we continue to ho'olewa, remember that was the number one word. Everyone say ho'olewa.
Ho'olewa.
As we continue to lift each other up, remember we have to lift the family up. We lift the grandchildren up. We lift uncle up. We do that with song and dance. And we already went off the program, but if we go right back to the program, we also would like to spend this time to ho'olewa, but also to share music and dance. So at this time, according to the program, we have a very special hula presentation from the sister of Uncle Allen. And that's you, gorgeous. Yes. Watch out for the foliage. Okay.
You've been doing this already.
Yes. Now in 1936, she was Miss Aloha Hula first runner-up. That's what you get for not having the song cued. Yeah, you're gonna get ho'ohene hene. We're gonna get ho'ohene hene you today.
Help. Where's the technical?
We would like to call upon someone that's a little tech savvy. Anyway, we're gonna run along the program. We'd like to spend this portion of the ho'olewa with song and dance, because that's what Uncle would have wanted. He would have wanted song and dance.
We need to cue this.
Dad, tech.
Okay. But that's very Uncle. When it happens, it happens. Yeah. For a reason. When it happens, it happens. But just know we're gonna be stuck in traffic now, Middle Street.
Wow. How come Art took the other? I don't know. The stuff went over there. How come Art took the other speaker? Can you hear loud? Help Auntie. Oh, Auntie Ash. Make loud. On the phone, make loud. Stop her.
Speaker on. Ready to connect. Connection successful.
Another wave view, yeah?
No, but Alan asked if Alan shoot me one, so I know
Yes.
he needs one more.
I got it.
They're keeping outside.
Connection successful.
Mahalo Tanti, aloha. Aloha lani. We would like to call up. Then we'd like to call up the grandchildren. Oh, hard time. We'd like to call up the grandchildren. Just a little history. In 1994, my father did recording of his songs, music that he wrote. And while going through his things, we found these recordings. And my shout out to my brother Aikane. He went go and do this hula for his nieces and nephews to dance to that song.
You my leaves?
Yeah, pretty awesome.
You my leaves? Curly shells. Yeah.
In the far back corner, and we found it. So mahalo Dad, Gutierrez, for taking the hours to kind of make it,
Go girl.
to work with the recording and edit. So
Stand in front of you. I'm just
this is the grandchildren dancing. We are the children. Mahalo. Aikane, make the hula. Aikane. Mahalo, everyone. Mahalo, nakamani'i. Again, that was Dad's original song. Here are the children in the show that we are lucky enough to find recordings of. Also, during the program and during while we're feasting, we are also going to be playing his songs that he wrote and composed by himself. And I think this is the first ho'olawa I've ever been to that the person the ho'olawa is for is going to perform for his own ho'olawa. So, yes, just to honor that. That way. Now, according to the program, we are going to sing Aloha Can Heal the World. And as we sing this, if we look towards the kitchen, the pavilion, you will see 2 TV screens there. And on the TV screens, we have composed like a montage of pictures of my father and his ohana. Shout out to my sister Ashley Alapai, who worked countless hours sorting through pictures and putting her neck on the computer, you know. So shout out to Ashley, my sister, who is setting it up now. Mahalo. So as we sing, before we sing my father's song, I do want to call up. I don't see him. Where is he? I do want to call up Dr. Brownstein. Oh, Dr. Brownstein, do you want to come up and say some words as we are waiting for this beautiful display of pictures that's going to be on the screen, and then we are going to sing Aloha Can Hear the World that my father wrote to. Mahalo. Stand right here. Aloha.
Getting speaker issues now. Stand next to the speaker.
We're having time.
I first met Allen a long time ago. It must be at least 30 years. And he told me how he came into his work in Lomi Lomi. And he started telling me how he was pouring concrete in Honolulu. And he had a team that was underneath him. He was in charge of a team. And they were putting up all those tall buildings in Waikiki and Honolulu. And he would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and make food for his workers. And so by the time they came onto the job site, he would say, oh, you have to eat food so you can do a good day's work. So he would lay out their food in the morning, and I think at lunch also. And he had a great team working underneath him, and he was pouring concrete for many years. I think it was about 10 years. And then the person he was working for won a contract for 25 years building huge buildings in Hong Kong. And he wanted Allen to come because Allen was such a reliable foreman of that. Can everybody hear what I'm saying?
Gotta speak louder.
Okay. So Allen said, no, I'm not going to Hong Kong, I'm going back to Kauai, and I'm gonna do what my grandmother wanted me to do. And so that was how he decided to stay on Kauai. And do his incredible work. There was a friend of ours, Sue McLaughlin, whose son, his name was Kevin McLaughlin. I don't know if anybody remembered them. They live in Honolulu. And Kevin met a very untimely death. He was a young surfer, and then he was skateboarding. He got hit by a car. He developed some neurological problems, and then one day they found him floating in the water. So it was a very sad occasion for his celebration. I don't know if it was much of a celebration, but it was in the church,
in Honolulu, and everyone was getting up and talking, and it was a very, very sad affair. And then Allen came up, and he lifted the whole spirits of the whole congregation. And he told a beautiful story. He said he just was himself. Allen was so natural, and he said, well, he said, I was in the supermarket and Kevin was in line with his shopping cart, and Kevin was very, struggling and was very polite, and Allen came up behind him and banged him with his shopping cart, and Kevin turned around, oh, I'm sorry, and Allen looked at him and said a few words and then smiled and laughed. And so when the whole mood of the congregation shifted with Allen's story, he was just so natural and free and childlike. So whenever I would see Allen in the supermarket, I'd always sneak up behind and try to bang his shopping cart. And I still do that to this day. If I see somebody in the store, I'll sneak up behind with my shopping cart and bang them, and I'll say, hey, get out of the way, what are you doing? And they'll turn around all frightened, and then we'll have a big laugh about it. So that was Allen. And I had the privilege of being one of his patients, even though I'm a doctor. And he said, doctor, I can work on you just a little bit, come to my home. I thought, okay, fine. So we live right on top and look down on the valley so I can see his home. And I came in the morning, and he put me on the table and he started working on me, and I was kind of just melting into the table, and before you know it, this was early in the morning I got there, and then the sun, I heard these birds chirping and the sun is going down. And it was all day, and I couldn't get off the table. He had melted me into the table. And when I finally got to my feet, I was wobbling around like I had drank a bottle of Jim Beam's or something. And I got in my car and I felt drunk. I was like in an altered state. And I backed up, I remember, and I smashed the back of my car. I was completely out of it. But that was, Allen had this just incredible timelessness that you would enter when he worked on you. And I've talked to so many other people, and they've said, oh yeah, that's how it was for us too. So that was his style and his modus operandi. And I was so happy to know when he started going to Germany and spreading aloha and spreading his teachings and the spirit of aloha. And then one day, a year and a half ago, we lost our son, Shantanu, and my world fell apart, and I didn't know what to do. I was ready to check into Mahilona. I was really lost it. And the only thing I could think of was I have to go down and see Uncle Allen. And I said, Allen, I need you. I can't do this. And he settled me down. He said, Doc, I'll be there. We had 400 people at our son's celebration. And Allen guided me through the most difficult, painful loss and time, and he just gave so much aloha, and I'm so grateful, and I'll always be forever grateful to Allen for his love and his aloha. And he was just the most powerful healer. I talked to my wife this morning. I said, you know, I'm supposed to say a few words. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I said, maybe you can speak. What do you want to say? And she goes, well, Allen was and still is the most powerful healer on Kauai, and most likely the whole Hawaii and most likely the whole hemisphere. And I'm a doctor saying that, okay? So that has to mean something. There was a man on the TED Talks on the YouTube named Adam Lipsig. And he has this talk about how to discover your life's purpose in 5 minutes or less. And normally you'd think, oh, who wants to listen to that? But that man had turned Walt Disney around, and he had produced the #2 nature documentary of all time called The March of the Penguins. So I paid attention to him, and Alan came in one day to our clinic, and I said, Alan, you have to see this. And it was just a 5-minute YouTube. And of course, it was a busy clinic, and the nurses were banging on the door and saying to, you have patients. And I said, I don't care. We're doing this now. And so we heard this little talk about discovering your life's purpose. And then I asked Alan afterwards, I said, Alan, how would you describe your life's purpose? What is your life's purpose? And he looked at me without hesitating and said, I turn stiff, grumpy grown-ups into little children. So I want to encourage the Alapai family to continue in their father's tradition, because the message that he taught and shared to the world is so, so, so important. And whatever my family in Ohana can do and I can do to support that mission, that your father is carrying on the real Hawaiian tradition, which is why everybody comes here. Everybody comes to Hawaii from all over the world for that aloha. And I've never seen that aloha more manifest. This isn't working. So I want everybody comes to Hawaii for that aloha spirit. And that spirit was manifest in Alan more than in any person I've ever known. So I want to encourage his family and everybody here to continue that in Alan's spirit, and he will always live on in my heart, and I know in everyone's heart that's here. He was and still is a very powerful healer. And the mark of a true healer is even when they've left their physical body, their energy and their love even gains in momentum and strength. So I want all of us here to remember Uncle Alan and the beauty and the love that he gave, and to continue, because he taught us all, he healed us all, so that we can share that with others. So thank you so much.
Ashley, are we ready with the montage? Mahalo to Dr. Brownstein, everybody. Mahalo for, I felt like testimony, and mahalo. Dad loved you, Dr. Brownstein.
Thank you.
Mahalo everybody for bearing along this far. Like I said, we weren't we really are winged. Yes.
And then when time for you, wait for
Ash, the montage is happening. Come right here.
No.
Thank you for bearing along with us. My mother's gonna sing a song. I really did. Sing along. Ash, are we ready? So in the back of your program, there is the words to Aloha Can Heal the World. And we're gonna sing along with my father. Ash, are we ready?
Hi, good.
Aloha, good to see you. Mom's phone and a water bottle.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Hey, Ola.
Hey.
Oh, Peely, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's just gotten big like him was. He's probably bigger now yet
Yeah,
still.
they're all good.
Are you guys getting hungry? I promise we almost found.
What, I gotta sing some more.
We're gonna sing this song and then we can eat.